Okay, so I'm taking a break from a hike in Peniente Canyon by Del Norte, Colorado. Let me give a longer overview of what I've been through in the last 10 months. I fled Colorado for my life because the wife cleared out all the joint bank accounts that I had access to, and she left me a note in the gun safe saying that, there were three pistols. Two of them, she said, were chambered, and she found that to be very dangerous. Well, that is totally untrue. They were not chambered. There was a loaded clip. They were not chambered, and the safety was on. And the only person that had a need to know that is our son, and he knew that. The third gun was a gift from her mother, and it was an old 22 that was probably made in the 1950s and brought back from Germany. It's 22 short. It really was a piece of junk. It needed a new spring. You could pull the trigger 6 times and you would only get 4 shots. But what she did is she left a note saying that it was unserialized and the other guns were stored unsafely. So that's two lies. And then she said she got rid of it by giving it to the sheriff's department, or she gave it to the proper authorities. It took me 5 months to figure out that she was actually telling the truth. This is the one time that she actually told the truth. But anyway, I packed up the RV and I got the hell out of there because when somebody's lying about money and guns, you got to step back and figure out what the heck is going on. And unfortunately, in the next 30 days, I said, don't get a hold of me, because everything I've heard from her was a giant manipulation, and it was just a mind screw, and I couldn't take the emotional violence. One day she's nice, the next day she's freaking hostile and calling me names. It just didn't make any sense to me, because this was my best friend for 41 and a half years, and all of a sudden now she's become a nightmare, an absolute total nightmare. I know that she was double dosed on testosterone starting about a year ago, so that would have been July 2023, and that's about the time she started losing her mind. Our last counseling session, I made it very clear. I'm sorry, you cannot gaslight me into thinking that you're a faithful wife. That it's impossible. I have such a preponderance of evidence that I haven't gone into, and I won't go into here, but there's just no frickin' way. I mean, just no frickin' way. Don't even try. But anyway, so how am I surviving? I'm surviving by, I established no contact. And then when I did have communication with her, she would say things like, "Oh, I don't feel safe. You're so angry. I don't feel safe. You're so angry." It's like, what? I've established no contact. I don't want you to talk to me, because every single time you do talk to me, it's a mind screw. But I think what she was trying to do was, she was going to say that the gun was unserialized, I wasn't storing things properly, and I needed a restraining order. It's like, oh my God, this is every trick out of the crazy female handbook for how to make a man's life miserable. And she was doing it with great, great precision. And that's the point that I decided to get the hell out of town. So the first place I went was Del Norte, Colorado, because I actually like this place. If it's hot, down at 5,000 feet, you come up here at 8,000 feet and it's 10 degrees cooler. So it's been neat. I wintered in Winter Haven, California. Don't think I'll do that next year. I need to try something new. But I was being ultra frugal, and I did survive a couple of months on less than $1,000. That's pretty impressive. But when I go back to the Denver area for divorce related stuff, I'm spending $4,000 or more a month, and I just don't have that kind of money laying around. I don't have an income. I'm on the run. If I'm settled down someplace, I'd happily go get a job. I miss the social contacts of a work environment. But being on the run with Titan is actually a lot of fun, as long as I'm not thinking about divorce. If we're out and, on a death march in the mountains of, 8 to 10 miles, I love it. I feel so good about life. Or if I get sun, I feel great. But, you know, if you don't get sun for a day or two and you're deficient in vitamin D, you're a little more likely to get depressed. Um, but I tell you, this, you know, the court system, I've got one toe in the court system and it's horrible. Oh my God, is it horrible? I'm up against a highly skilled attorney, and she went out and got an attorney that specializes in high asset, high conflict divorces. And it's like, are you kidding me? We talked again and again and again. We weren't going to get attorneys because she went to law school. She's helped all of her girlfriends, you know, make sure they win in their battles. Um, but I am so screwed. I am so screwed because, you know, she went to law school with the chief judge. That's called judicial bias. I just want to get through this. I want to be separated. I don't like the idea of divorce because to me, divorce is failure. You know, we've been together for 42 years. Our anniversary was just 2 days ago. Would have been 33 years of marriage. But we haven't failed at anything. Neither one of us have failed at anything in the last 42 years. I've failed at learning languages, including English. But, you know, we haven't failed at anything. We're both hardworking. We're both honest. Well, I thought we were both honest people. But, you know, divorce just absolutely is the most horrible process. I just cannot believe that it's so horrible. What you need is somebody to sit down with you and say, okay, you can do this the easy way or you can do it the hard way. But unfortunately, everybody in the entire process is motivated to bleed you dry financially. You know, you input your financial statements and they realize, oh my God. Next thing you know, they're all circling, they smell blood in the water, and you know the story. It's so ugly. It's so ugly. I just read an article yesterday on CNN about some couple that they had a couple $100 million estate, and they both, I think, were attorneys. Boy, that's karma. But the wife essentially did a bunch of stuff, and then she went off to Sweden and had medically assisted suicide because she thought that was the best way to get out of her marriage. It's like, I didn't get the whole story, but I mean, my God, they filed hundreds and hundreds of motions against each other. Well, that's what lawyers do. And that's why I want to just be over this, done with this. But she's submitted at least 3 different separation agreements, and they all screw me over royally. So I would never sign anything or agree to anything like that. She tried to slip a bunch of stuff by me, and oh my God, I had no idea she would be so slimy. I had no idea. I couldn't imagine. How could your best friend of 42 years just become the most vicious, psychopathic, terrible human being? It's unimaginable. I am so floored. And I don't know how we're going to get out of this because it's in motion. All I can do is file more and more things to try to make her accountable. And then she's going to counter everything. So, you know, we're going to end up like that couple. You know, I'd be glad to give her a one-way ticket to Sweden, but that's a whole other story. Anyway, life is good as long as you're not thinking about divorce. Anyway, out in nature with Titan. Signing out. Bye.